What's going on, Dolphins fans? It's Connor from the Dolphins Dive, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over where the Miami Dolphins rank in the whole AFC landscape. So, obviously, the AFC, in my opinion, is the better of the two conferences in the NFL between AFC and NFC, obviously. Now, that's not to say that the NFC is bad. I think the NFC has good teams, but it's top heavy, and there's not a lot of depth. There's a couple good teams, but overall, out of the 16 teams, not many are good. Where the AFC is completely different. They have the top teams like NFC, but there's 8 other teams on top of the top teams that are also good. So it makes it for a very competitive conference, but it also leads to people you think might be good underperforming due to the competition that's there. So that is a cause for concern for the Dolphins. Obviously, I'm not concerned fully. The Dolphins have the best team they've had since the Marino days, without a doubt. But every other team has kind of ramped themselves up. Like, think of the Jaguars are in kind of a winning mode. The Jets are now in a winning mode. The Bills, the entire AFC North practically. Like, there's a lot of competitive teams, and that doesn't bode well for the Dolphins. But I think the Dolphins are talented enough to be battle tested through this conference to ultimately make the playoffs, and that's all that matters. So, and I mean, just the AFC East in general is also pretty good. But I'm basing this off of roster and now record predictions. So I want to make that clear, basing off roster, coaching, things like that. So I'm going to start at the bottom. 16, I gave it to the Texans. Obviously, they have CJ Stroud and a couple young guys. I just don't think they're all that talented right now. They're kind of a youth team that are going to continue to build their way up and start spending, and they're in a rebuild mode. 15 Titans, and this is tough because I think Vrabel's a great coach. I think he's always going to have that defense humming, and they have Derrick Henry, so they're going to be able to run the ball pretty well. But I just, once again, I like the Colts a little bit more. I'm just excited about that nucleus, and the Colts underperform heavily, but I think once they have Shaq Leonard back and their core players are back, I think they'll be better than they are. But at number 14, I have the Colts. Coming in at 13 is the Raiders. The Raiders are, like, once again, I don't think the Raiders are that bad, honestly. They have a great pass rushing tandem in Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. They added Tyree Wilson. And they've got some good players. Devontae Adams, obviously. Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfro. They drafted Michael Mayer. Like, they have a good roster. It's just, I couldn't really put them ahead of any other team. Coming in at 12, I got the Broncos, who I also feel like is too low, but it's just like, I don't know where to put him. Sean Payne's a tremendous addition for them. I think Russ will return to Russ form. It's just the reason that's holding me back from putting them higher is they got so many people coming back from injury, and that's good. But usually it takes people a little longer to get fully back to themselves. Like Javonte Williams will be ready by the regular season, but he won't. In my opinion, won't be Javonte Williams till later. And same with some of the other guys that went down with injury. New coach and scheme, so I think it might take a year for them to fully get back into form, but I don't think they're going to be nearly as bad as they were last year. Coming out at 11 is the Patriots, who obviously we like to shit on, but I think they're honestly underrated. Bill Belichick obviously is arguably the greatest coach of all time. Shula's better though. They're always going to have elite defense. That's just how they play, man. So good defensively, and Bill O'Brien, say what you want about him, but he's a godsend for their offense. He's a competent offensive coordinator, and his time he didn't get fired from the Houston job because of his coaching. He got fired because of his GMing. So I think he's a good coach, and I think he's actually going to be very beneficial for that offense. So they're a team to look out for. Coming in at 10 is the Steelers. Once again, a team I feel like is too low. Mike Tomlin always goes above 500. They're always going to play great defense once again. Their offense, they have some players. Obviously, they added Allen Robinson. They have Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris, Freiermuth. I think they're going to be a team that's going to be able to run the ball well, which is good, but they just lack explosiveness. Like, none of the receivers are like a home run hitter. Najee's not really a home run hitter either. It's just like they're going to play great defense. They're going to be able to run the ball, which is what you need to do to win games, but they lack that explosiveness to put them over the top, in my opinion. Coming at 9 is the Jaguars. Sorry, Mike. I'm sure you want them higher. That's my friend. Sorry. But I think the Jags are going to win their division, but it's because it's a cakewalk. They have the Colts, Titans, and Texans, who are my 14 through 16 in this ranking. So I think the Jags are a good team, but I don't think they did enough in the offseason to take them to the next step, unless it's just pure development. But I don't know. A lot of these teams, man, they are very talented. But I think the Jaguars are going to finish with better records or make the playoffs just due to the nature of their division, where coming out of 8 is the Cleveland Browns, who, say what you want about him. I'm not a Deshaun Watson fan, but he's a good player. I don't think he's going to be as bad as he was this past season. Honestly, I'd be a fan of it because I think he's a complete dirtbag, but I like Kevin Stefanski as a coach. They have an amazing offensive line. Adding Zadarius Smith is a huge addition for the Browns. They have a nasty pass rushing tandem. They got Jim Schwartz as their defensive coordinator, which I think is going to help their defense improve. So Nick Chubb, great offensive line. I think Deshaun Watson can't be that bad, although I'd like him to. I just think the Browns are going to be a pretty good team in a very tough division, though, with that said. Coming in at 7, I have the Chargers, which I think wouldn't be higher, but it's just this conference is stacked, man. Obviously, week 1 opponent for the Dolphins got Herbert. They drafted another receiver, very good receiving core. Austin Eckler, if he doesn't get traded. They're having Rashawn Slater return from injury, which is going to be huge for them. And basically running it back defensively, which honestly I think their defense had a lot of injuries last season. So fully being healthy, I think it'll be beneficial for them. So Chargers also a good team. Coming in at 6, I got the Jets. 5 Bills, 4 Ravens. But in my opinion, all these teams are interchangeable, man. Like the deciphering things between some of these teams is so minuscule. It's opinionated, but that's just how I have it. So 6 Jets, 5 Bills, 4 Ravens. 3, I got the Miami Dolphins. 2 Cincinnati Bengals, and 1 Kansas City Chiefs. So in my opinion, I got the Dolphins at 3 in the entire conference, which is very good. But like I said, the difference between the Dolphins to Jets, I mean, honestly, it's not that big. So any given Sunday, obviously the AFC East has like the hardest schedule based off strength of schedule and everything. But I think the Dolphins are a very talented team that improved their defensive coaching staff tremendously. Having a second year in the same offense, I really think is going to help take them to the next level. So I honestly think the Dolphins, despite the tough conference, despite the tough schedule, are going to come out battle-tested, win 10 to 12 games, potentially win the division, and be primed and ready for the playoffs. So it's a tough landscape, but I think the Dolphins will emerge as one of the top teams, and I think you guys would agree. Comment down below your thoughts. Check out the Dolphins Dive for dope Dolphins merch like this Tua shirt, and that's on next time. I'll catch y'all.